Marvel movies, in chronological order. 1. Captain America, the First Avenger. Captain America, the First Avenger is a 2011 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America. It is the fifth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and was directed by Joe Johnston. The movie stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, a frail and sickly young man who becomes the super soldier Captain America after being injected with the experimental super soldier serum during World War II. The film's storyline follows Rogers as he tries to fit into the role of a superhero and fight against the evil organization Hydra, led by the villainous Red Skull, played by Hugo Weaving. Along the way, Rogers is aided by allies such as Peggy Carter, played by Haley Atwell, Colonel Chester Phillips, played by Tommy Lee Jones, and his best friend Bucky Barnes, played by Sebastian Stan. Captain America, the First Avenger was well received by critics and audiences alike, who praised its action sequences, period setting, and Chris Evans' performance as the titular character. The film's success solidified Captain America's place in the MCU and led to sequels, including Captain America, The Winter Soldier, 2014, and Captain America, Civil War, 2016. Captain America also became a key member of the Avengers, appearing in numerous team-up films within the MCU. 2. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is a fictional superhero character appearing in comic books published by Marvel Comics. Created by writer Roy Thomas and artist Gene Colan, the character first appeared as Carol Danvers in Marvel Superheroes No. 13 in 1968. Danvers initially appeared as an officer in the United States Air Force and later became a colleague of the Kree superhero Marvel. In 1977, Danvers was transformed into the superheroine Ms. Marvel after her DNA was fused with Marvel's during an explosion, which granted her superhuman powers. Over the years, Carol Danvers has taken on various superhero identities, including Binary and Warbird. In 2012, under writer Kelly Sue DeConnick, Danvers assumed the mantle of Captain Marvel, which had previously belonged to the Kree hero Marvel. As Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers possesses superhuman strength, endurance, durability, flight, and the ability to project and absorb energy. In 2019, the character made her debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, in the film Captain Marvel, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. The film stars Brie Larson as Carol Danvers/Captain Marvel and is set in the 1990s. It tells the story of Danvers, a former U.S. Air Force pilot, who becomes Captain Marvel after being exposed to alien technology. She then finds herself caught in the middle of a galactic conflict between the Kree and the shape-shifting Skrulls. The film was a commercial success and received positive reviews from critics, who praised its action sequences, visual effects, and Larson's performance. Captain Marvel later appeared in the 2019 film Avengers, Endgame, where she played a crucial role in the fight against the villain Thanos. 3. Iron Man. Iron Man is a fictional superhero character appearing in comic books published by Marvel Comics. The character was created by writer and editor Stan Lee, developed by scripter Larry Lieber, and designed by artists Don Heck and Jack Kirby. Iron Man first appeared in Tales of Suspense No. 39, which was published in 1963. Iron Man's alter ego is Tony Stark, a wealthy industrialist, genius inventor, and consummate playboy who is injured by a booby trap while visiting Vietnam. Stark is taken captive by the enemy and ordered to build a weapon of mass destruction. Instead, he creates a powered suit of armor to save his life and escape captivity. Once back in the United States, Stark refines the suit and uses it to fight various threats to humanity as Iron Man. The Iron Man suit provides Tony Stark with a variety of abilities, including superhuman strength, flight, and an array of advanced weapons. Over the years, the character has been featured in numerous comic book series, crossover events, and adaptations in other media. The Iron Man character gained mainstream popularity with the release of the 2008 film Iron Man, directed by Jon Favreau and starring Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. The film was a critical and commercial success and launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Downey reprised the role in several subsequent MCU films, including sequels and team-up movies such as the Avengers series. 4. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 is a 2010 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Iron Man. It is the sequel to the 2008 film Iron Man and the third film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Directed by Jon Favreau and starring Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark/Iron Man, The film continues the story of the billionaire industrialist and inventor who uses his advanced suit of armor to fight various threats. In Iron Man 2, Tony Stark faces pressure from the government to share his Iron Man technology with the military. He is also challenged by a new enemy, Ivan Vanko, played by Mickey Rourke, a Russian physicist who has developed his own powerful suit of armor and seeks revenge on the Stark family for past grievances. At the same time, Stark deals with his declining health due to the palladium core in his arc reactor, the very device keeping him alive. The film also introduces new characters to the MCU, including Natasha Romanoff/Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, a skilled spy working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and James Rhodey Rhodes/War Machine, played by Don Cheadle, replacing Terrence Howard from the first film, Stark's close friend who dons a modified version of the Iron Man suit. Iron Man 2 received mixed to positive reviews from critics, who praised the performances, particularly that of Downey Jr., and the action sequences, but criticized the film's plot and pacing. Despite this, the film was a commercial success and continued to build momentum for the expanding MCU. 5. The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is a fictional superhero character appearing in comic books published by Marvel Comics. Created by writer Stan Lee and artist Jack Kirby, the character first appeared in The Incredible Hulk #1, published in 1962. The Hulk is the alter ego of Dr. Bruce Banner, a socially withdrawn and emotionally reserved physicist who transforms into the giant, green-skinned, and incredibly strong Hulk whenever he experiences extreme anger or stress. The character's origin story revolves around Banner being exposed to gamma radiation during the detonation of an experimental bomb. The radiation causes Banner to undergo a dramatic transformation into the Hulk whenever he becomes emotionally agitated. As the Hulk, he possesses nearly limitless strength, with his power levels increasing in proportion to his level of anger. The character has been featured in numerous comic book series, crossover events, and adaptations in other media. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, the character was first portrayed by Edward Norton in the 2008 film The Incredible Hulk. Directed by Louis Leterrier, the film serves as a reboot to the 2003 film Hulk, directed by Ang Lee and starring Eric Bana. The 2008 film explores Banner's attempts to find a cure for his condition while evading the U.S. military, led by General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, played by William Hurt, who seeks to exploit the Hulk's power for military purposes. The film also introduces the villainous Emil Blonsky/Abomination, played by Tim Roth, a soldier who undergoes a similar transformation in an attempt to defeat the Hulk. While The Incredible Hulk received mixed reviews and was not as successful as other MCU films, it is still considered part of the larger interconnected universe. In subsequent MCU appearances, the role of Bruce Banner/the Hulk was recast with Mark Ruffalo, who has portrayed the character in various films, including the Avengers series. 6. Thor. Thor is a 2011 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of the same name. It is the fourth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and was directed by Kenneth Branagh. The film stars Chris Hemsworth as Thor, the Norse god of thunder and the son of Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins. The story follows Thor as he is banished to Earth by his father after reigniting an ancient war against the Frost Giants, led by their king, Laufey, played by Colm Feore. Stripped of his powers and his enchanted hammer Mjolnir, Thor must learn humility and what it means to be a true hero while on Earth. He is taken in by astrophysicist Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, her assistant Darcy Lewis, played by Kat Dennings, and mentor Dr. Erik Selvig, played by Stellan Skarsgård. Meanwhile, in Asgard, Thor's adoptive brother Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, plots to take over the throne by manipulating events and exploiting Thor's absence. Thor received positive reviews from critics, who praised the performances, particularly those of Hemsworth and Hiddleston, as well as the film's visual effects and action sequences. The film was a commercial success, solidifying Thor as a key character in the MCU. Thor has since appeared in several sequels and team-up films, including Thor: The Dark World, 2013, Thor: Ragnarok, 2017, and the Avengers series. 7. The Avengers. The Avengers is a 2012 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team of the same name. It is the sixth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and was written and directed by Joss Whedon. The film features an ensemble cast, including Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Evans as Captain America, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. The Avengers brings together the main characters from the preceding MCU films, as they are recruited by S.H.I.E.L.D., a secret government organization led by Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson. The team must work together to stop the villainous Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, Thor's adoptive brother, who has come to Earth with an alien army to conquer the planet using the power of the Tesseract, a cosmic artifact with immense energy. The film was praised by critics for its character development, action sequences, humor, and the chemistry among the ensemble cast. The Avengers was a massive box office success, becoming the third highest-grossing film of all time at the time of its release, and it played a crucial role in solidifying the popularity and success of the MCU. The Avengers spawned several sequels, including Avengers: Age of Ultron, 2015, Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019, which continued to explore the relationships and adventures of the superhero team while introducing new characters and threats to the ever-expanding universe. 8. Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World is a 2013 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Thor. It is the sequel to the 2011 film Thor and the eighth film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Directed by Alan Taylor, the film sees Chris Hemsworth reprise his role as the Norse god of thunder, Thor. The story picks up after the events of the Avengers, with Thor returning to his home realm of Asgard and reuniting with his love interest, Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman. In the film, an ancient and powerful enemy known as the Dark Elves, led by Malekith, played by Christopher Eccleston, seeks to plunge the universe into darkness using a mysterious weapon called the Ether. Thor must team up with his imprisoned brother Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, to protect Asgard, Earth, and the rest of the 9 realms from the Dark Elves' destructive plan. Thor: The Dark World received mixed reviews from critics, who praised the performances of Hemsworth and Hiddleston but criticized the film's plot, pacing, and underdeveloped villain. Despite these critiques, the film was a commercial success, grossing over $644 million worldwide. Thor's story continues in the MCU with the critically acclaimed film Thor: Ragnarok, 2017, and appearances in subsequent Avengers films, including Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. 9. Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is a 2013 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Iron Man. It is the sequel to Iron Man, 2008, and Iron Man 2, 2010, as well as the 7th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Directed by Shane Black, the film stars Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark/Iron Man, who must confront a new enemy while dealing with the aftermath of the events from the Avengers, 2012. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark faces a formidable terrorist known as the Mandarin, initially portrayed by Ben Kingsley, who is wreaking havoc with a series of bombings. As Stark investigates the Mandarin's motives and the mysterious extremist virus that grants people regenerative and explosive abilities, he must also come to terms with his own anxiety and vulnerability following his near-death experience in the Avengers. The film also sees the return of Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts and Don Cheadle as James Rhodey Rhodes/War Machine, as well as the introduction of Guy Pearce as Aldrich Killian, the true mastermind behind the Mandarin and the extremist virus. Iron Man 3 received generally positive reviews from critics, who praised Downey Jr.'s performance, the film's action sequences, and the exploration of Tony Stark's character development. The film was a major box office success, grossing over $1.2 billion worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film in the Iron Man series and one of the highest-grossing films of all time. Although there hasn't been an Iron Man 4, Tony Stark's story continues in subsequent MCU films, including appearances in Avengers: Age of Ultron, 2015, Captain America: Civil War, 2016, Spider-Man: Homecoming, 2017, Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. 10. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a 2014 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character Captain America. It is the sequel to Captain America: The First Avenger, 2011, and the 9th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, the film stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers/Captain America, who must navigate the modern world after being unfrozen from his time in the 1940s. In the film, Captain America teams up with Natasha Romanoff/Black Widow, played by Scarlett Johansson, and Sam Wilson/Falcon, played by Anthony Mackie, to uncover a conspiracy within the government organization S.H.I.E.L.D. They soon find themselves facing a mysterious and formidable assassin known as the Winter Soldier, played by Sebastian Stan, who has a surprising connection to Captain America's past. The film also features the return of Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury and the introduction of Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce, a high-ranking S.H.I.E.L.D. official with ulterior motives. Captain America: The Winter Soldier received widespread acclaim from critics, who praised the film's engaging story, character development, action sequences, and its mix of political thriller and superhero genres. The film was also a commercial success, grossing over $714 million worldwide. The events of The Winter Soldier have a significant impact on the MCU, leading to the dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. and setting the stage for future films, including Captain America: Civil War, 2016, and the Avengers series. 11. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is a Marvel comic book series that has been adapted into a successful film franchise by Marvel Studios. The first Guardians of the Galaxy comic was published in 1969, but the team as it is known today was formed in 2008, featuring characters like Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot. The film adaptation has so far consisted of 2 movies directed by James Gunn, with a third installment also directed by Gunn slated for a release. The first movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, 2014, introduced audiences to the team of misfits who reluctantly join forces to save the galaxy from the villainous Ronan the Accuser. The sequel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 2017, delved deeper into the characters' backstories and introduced new characters like Mantis and Ego the Living Planet. In addition to their standalone films, the Guardians of the Galaxy have also appeared in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, crossover films, such as Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019, where they joined forces with other MCU heroes to combat the threat of Thanos and his quest to gather the Infinity Stones. The Guardians of the Galaxy films are known for their humor, colorful visuals, and ensemble cast. They are also notable for their soundtracks, which feature classic songs from the 1970s and 1980s that serve as a connection to Star-Lord's earthly origins. 12. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the sequel to the 2014 film Guardians of the Galaxy, and it was released in 2017. Written and directed by James Gunn, the film continues the adventures of the titular team as they explore the galaxy and delve deeper into their own personal histories. The main cast returns, with Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Vin Diesel as the voice of Baby Groot, and Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket Raccoon. New characters are also introduced, including Mantis, Palm Clementif, Ego the Living Planet, Kurt Russell, and Stackaro Gord, Sylvester Stallone. In the film, the Guardians are hired by the Sovereign, a genetically engineered race, to protect valuable batteries from an interdimensional monster. After completing the mission, Rocket steals some of the batteries, which leads to the Sovereign pursuing the Guardians. The team then encounters Ego, who reveals himself as Star-Lord's biological father. As the Guardians learn more about Ego, they uncover a sinister plot that threatens the galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 builds upon the first film's success by expanding the characters' backstories and relationships, with a particular focus on family dynamics. The film also maintains the humor, colorful visuals, and retro soundtrack that made the original a hit, featuring songs like Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra and The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. 13. Avengers: Age of Ultron. Avengers: Age of Ultron is a 2015 superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team the Avengers. It is the sequel to the 2012 film The Avengers and the 11th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. Written and directed by Joss Whedon, the film features an ensemble cast that includes Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, Chris Evans as Captain America, Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. In Age of Ultron, the Avengers are on a mission to recover Loki's scepter, which contains the Mind Stone. Tony Stark, Iron Man, and Bruce Banner, Hulk, use the scepter to create an artificial intelligence named Ultron, intending for it to help protect the world from future threats. However, Ultron gains sentience and decides that humanity is the greatest threat to the planet, formulating a plan to eradicate it. In response, the Avengers must reunite and work together to stop Ultron and his army of robotic minions. Throughout the film, the Avengers face various challenges, including the introduction of new characters like Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, who initially side with Ultron but later join the Avengers. The film also introduces the Vision, Paul Bettany, an android created by Ultron but brought to life by the Avengers, who wields the Mind Stone in his forehead and helps the team defeat Ultron. Avengers: Age of Ultron was a box office success, earning over $1.4 billion worldwide. It continued the development of the MCU by further integrating plotlines, characters, and the Infinity Stone storyline, setting the stage for future films in the franchise. 14. Ant-Man. Ant-Man is a 2015 superhero film based on the Marvel Comics characters of the same name, specifically focusing on the characters of Hank Pym and Scott Lang. It is the 12th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and was directed by Peyton Reed, with a screenplay by Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish, Adam McKay, and Paul Rudd. The film tells the story of Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, a skilled thief who is recruited by Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, to take on the mantle of Ant-Man. Hank Pym is a brilliant scientist who has developed the Pym particle, a substance that allows objects and people to shrink in size while maintaining their strength. He has also created the Ant-Man suit, which allows the wearer to control ants and shrink to a minuscule size. When Pym discovers that his former protege, Darren Cross, played by Corey Stoll, is attempting to replicate his technology to create the Yellow Jacket suit for nefarious purposes, he recruits Lang to become the new Ant-Man and stop Cross. The film follows Lang as he learns to use the Ant-Man suit, navigates his relationship with his daughter, and works with Pym and his daughter, Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, to prevent Cross from causing harm with the dangerous technology. Ant-Man is known for its blend of humor, action, and a unique visual style that showcases the perspective of the world from a shrunken size. The film was a box office success and led to a sequel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, in which Hope Van Dyne takes on the superhero identity of the Wasp. Additionally, Ant-Man has appeared in other MCU films, such as Captain America, Civil War, 2016, Avengers, Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers, Endgame, 2019. 15. Captain America, Civil War. The movie's plot is inspired by the 2006 to 2007 comic book storyline Civil War written by Mark Millar. The story revolves around a disagreement between superheroes over the regulation of their activities, which leads to a division among the Avengers and other heroes. Following a tragic incident that results in collateral damage, the world's governments propose the Sokovia Accords, a regulatory framework that would put the Avengers under United Nations oversight. The Avengers become divided over the issue, with one faction led by Captain America, Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, who opposes the Accords, believing that they would jeopardize the hero's ability to protect people. The other faction is led by Iron Man, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., who supports the Accords as a means of ensuring accountability and preventing further tragedies. As tensions escalate, the heroes are forced to choose sides, leading to a conflict between the two factions. Captain America, Civil War features an ensemble cast, including characters from previous MCU films such as Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, Falcon, Anthony Mackie, Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen, Vision, Paul Bettany, and War Machine, Don Cheadle. The film also introduces new characters, including Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, and Spider-Man, Tom Holland, who make their first appearances in the MCU. 16. Black Widow. Initially an antagonist to Iron Man, Black Widow eventually defects to the United States and becomes a member of the superhero team, the Avengers. Over time, she also becomes romantically involved with fellow Avenger Hawkeye, Clint Barton, and later has relationships with other heroes like Daredevil, Matt Murdock, and the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. Black Widow is best known for her role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, where she is portrayed by Scarlett Johansson. She first appears in the 2010 film Iron Man 2 and becomes a recurring character in the franchise. Black Widow plays crucial roles in several MCU films, including The Avengers, 2012, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, 2014, Avengers, Age of Ultron, 2015, Captain America, Civil War, 2016, Avengers, Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers, Endgame, 2019. In 2021, Natasha Romanoff received her own standalone film titled Black Widow, directed by Kate Shortland. The film serves as a prequel to the events of Avengers, Endgame and delves into her past, exploring her relationships with her makeshift family, including her sister figure Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, her surrogate father Alexei Shostakov, also known as the Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, and her surrogate mother Melina Vostokov, played by Rachel Weisz. 17. Spider-Man: Homecoming. Spider-Man: Homecoming stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man, who first made his debut in the MCU in Captain America: Civil War, 2016. The film follows Peter Parker as he tries to balance his life as a high school student in Queens, New York, with his crime-fighting alter ego, Spider-Man. After the events of Civil War, Peter receives guidance from Tony Stark, Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., and his assistant Happy Hogan, Jon Favreau, while dealing with the challenges of being a teenage superhero. The film introduces the villain Adrian Toomes, also known as the Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. Toomes is a salvager who turns to crime after his company is pushed out of business by Stark Industries. He and his crew use advanced technology, derived from the alien Chitauri, to create powerful weapons and gadgets, which they sell on the black market. Spider-Man: Homecoming received positive reviews from critics and audiences alike, who praised its light-hearted tone, humor, and the performances of Holland and Keaton. The film was a commercial success, grossing over $880 million worldwide. It was followed by a sequel, Spider-Man: Far From Home, 2019, and the concluding chapter of the trilogy, Spider-Man: No Way Home, 2021, which further explores the character and his place in the larger MCU. 18. Black Panther. Wakanda is depicted as a hidden and isolated African country that has developed advanced technology, primarily due to its vast reserves of vibranium. The nation has managed to keep its existence and resources secret from the rest of the world. Black Panther made his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, in Captain America: Civil War, 2016, portrayed by Chadwick Boseman. The character then appeared in his own standalone film, Black Panther, 2018, directed by Ryan Coogler. The movie focuses on T'Challa's ascension to the throne of Wakanda following his father's death and his struggle to protect his people from internal and external threats. Black Panther was a critical and commercial success, receiving praise for its direction, acting, screenplay, production design, costumes, and soundtrack. The film grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide and was the first superhero film to receive a Best Picture nomination at the Academy Awards. It also won 3 Oscars for Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, and Best Original Score. Black Panther has since appeared in other MCU films, including Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. A sequel, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, is in development, with a planned release date in 2022. Following the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman in 2020, Marvel Studios has announced that the role of T'Challa will not be recast, and the sequel will pay tribute to Boseman's portrayal of the character while exploring the world of Wakanda and its people. 19. Doctor Strange. As the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange has access to vast magical powers, including energy manipulation, teleportation, astral projection, and the ability to create and control various magical constructs. He possesses several mystical artifacts, such as the Cloak of Levitation, which enables him to fly, and the Eye of Agamotto, which houses the Time Stone, one of the 6 powerful Infinity Stones in the Marvel Universe. Doctor Strange made his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, in the 2016 film Doctor Strange, portrayed by Benedict Cumberbatch. The film, directed by Scott Derrickson, explores Stephen Strange's journey from a brilliant but arrogant neurosurgeon to a humble and wise sorcerer under the tutelage of the Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton. Following his introduction in the standalone film, Doctor Strange has appeared in several other MCU films, including Thor: Ragnarok, 2017, Avengers: Infinity War, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. The character plays a significant role in the fight against the intergalactic villain Thanos, using his magical abilities and knowledge of the Time Stone to aid the Avengers. 20. Thor: Ragnarok. In Thor: Ragnarok, Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, finds himself imprisoned on the distant planet of Sakaar, without his powerful hammer, Mjolnir. He is forced to participate in a gladiatorial contest, where he encounters the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, his former ally and fellow Avenger. Meanwhile, Hela, played by Cate Blanchett, the goddess of death and Thor's long-lost sister, has returned to Asgard to claim the throne and unleash the apocalyptic event known as Ragnarok, which would destroy Asgard and its civilization. Thor must team up with the Hulk, his mischievous brother Loki, played by Tom Hiddleston, and a new ally, the fierce warrior Valkyrie, played by Tessa Thompson, to escape Sakaar and return to Asgard to stop Hela and prevent Ragnarok. The film also features appearances from other MCU characters, such as Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, and the Grandmaster, Jeff Goldblum. Thor: Ragnarok received positive reviews from critics and audiences alike, who praised its humor, action, visual effects, and performances, particularly those of Hemsworth, Blanchett, and Goldblum. The film was also noted for its distinct tone and style, largely influenced by Waititi's unique directorial approach. Thor: Ragnarok was a commercial success, grossing over $854 million worldwide. 21. Ant-Man and the Wasp. The movie takes place after the events of Captain America: Civil War, 2016, and before the events of Avengers: Infinity War, 2018. Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, is under house arrest due to his actions during the events of Civil War. He is struggling to balance his responsibilities as a father and his duties as Ant-Man. When Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, and her father, Dr. Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, discover a way to potentially rescue Janet Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, the original Wasp and Hank's wife, from the quantum realm, they enlist Scott's help. The quantum realm is a subatomic dimension previously thought to be unreachable and deadly to those who enter it. Meanwhile, they must also deal with a new adversary, Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen, who has the ability to phase through solid matter, making her a formidable opponent. Ant-Man and the Wasp is notable for introducing the Wasp as a full-fledged superhero, with Hope Van Dyne taking on the mantle that her mother once held. The film is known for its humor, engaging action sequences, and its exploration of the quantum realm, which plays a significant role in the broader MCU, particularly in Avengers: Endgame, 2019. 22. Avengers: Infinity War. Directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, Avengers: Infinity War features an ensemble cast that includes Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Don Cheadle, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Denai Guerrera, Letitia Wright, Dave Bautista, Zoe Saldana, Josh Brolin, and Chris Pratt, among others. The film revolves around the villain Thanos, played by Josh Brolin, who seeks to collect all 6 Infinity Stones to gain ultimate power and wipe out half of all life in the universe. The Avengers, along with other heroes from the MCU, including the Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther, join forces to stop him. Avengers: Infinity War was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $2 billion worldwide and receiving praise for its visual effects, action sequences, and the performances of the ensemble cast. The film's story continues in its sequel, Avengers: Endgame, 2019, which concludes the narrative arc started in Infinity War. 23. Avengers: Endgame. Directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, Avengers: Endgame features an ensemble cast that includes Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Don Cheadle, Paul Rudd, Brie Larson, Karen Gillan, Denai Guerrera, Benedict Wong, Jon Favreau, Bradley Cooper, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Josh Brolin, among others. The film takes place following the events of Avengers: Infinity War, in which Thanos successfully collected all 6 Infinity Stones and wiped out half of all life in the universe. In Endgame, the surviving Avengers and their allies, now dealing with the aftermath of Thanos' actions, devise a plan to travel back in time to collect the Infinity Stones before Thanos can, in order to reverse the devastating consequences of the snap. This epic battle culminates in a final showdown with Thanos and his army. Avengers: Endgame was a critical and commercial success, becoming the highest-grossing film of all time, surpassing Avatar, 2009, with a worldwide box office gross of over $2.798 billion. The film received praise for its direction, acting, visual effects, and emotional weight, and it served as a satisfying conclusion to the story arc that began with the first Avengers film in 2012. 24. Spider-Man: Far From Home. In Spider-Man: Far From Home, Peter Parker, Tom Holland, is mourning the loss of his mentor, Tony Stark, Iron Man, following the events of Avengers: Endgame, 2019. Hoping to enjoy a European vacation with his classmates, Peter's plans are disrupted when he is recruited by Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, to help battle the Elementals, powerful creatures that are wreaking havoc across the continent. Peter teams up with Quentin Beck, Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal, who claims to be from an alternate Earth and possesses knowledge about the Elementals. As Peter confronts these new threats, he also grapples with his role as a superhero and the legacy of Iron Man. Spider-Man: Far From Home was both a critical and commercial success, receiving praise for its humor, visual effects, and performances, particularly Tom Holland and Jake Gyllenhaal. The film grossed over $1.1 billion worldwide, making it the first Spider-Man film to pass the billion-dollar mark and the third highest-grossing film of 2019. The story of Peter Parker continues in the sequel, Spider-Man: No Way Home, 2021. 25. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The story follows Shang-Chi, Simu Liu, a skilled martial artist who was trained from a young age by his father, Xu Wenwu, Tony Leung, the leader of the powerful and secretive Ten Rings organization. Living a quiet life in San Francisco, Shang-Chi is drawn back into his father's world when he learns that Wenwu is searching for the mystical village of Ta Lo in order to harness its power. Shang-Chi must confront his past, face his father, and protect the village, while forging his own identity as a hero. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings received positive reviews from critics, who praised its action sequences, visual effects, and performances, particularly Simu Liu and Tony Leung. The film also garnered praise for its representation of Asian characters and culture, breaking new ground in the superhero genre. The film was a commercial success, grossing over $430 million worldwide. Shang-Chi's story is expected to continue in future MCU projects. 26. Eternals. Eternals tells the story of an immortal alien race created by the Celestials, who have secretly lived on Earth for thousands of years. The Eternals are tasked with protecting humanity from their evil counterparts, the Deviants. The film follows the characters Cersei, Gemma Chan, Icarus, Richard Madden, Kingo, Kumail Nanjiani, Sprite, Leah McHugh, Phastos, Brian Tyree Henry, Macquarie, Lauren Ridloff, Druig, Barry Keoghan, Gilgamesh, Don Lee, Ayok, Salma Hayek, and Thena, Angelina Jolie, as they reunite to face a new threat that could endanger the existence of both the Earth and the universe. The film received mixed to positive reviews from critics, who praised its ambition, visuals, and diverse cast but found the narrative uneven at times. Eternals was a commercial success, grossing over $400 million worldwide. The film's events and characters are expected to have an impact on the future of the MCU. 27. Spider-Man: No Way Home. In Spider-Man: No Way Home, Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man has been exposed to the world, causing significant upheaval in his personal life. Desperate to restore his anonymity, Peter seeks the help of Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch. However, their actions inadvertently fracture the multiverse, allowing villains from previous Spider-Man film universes to enter their world. Peter must confront these villains, some of whom are familiar faces from past iterations of the character, including those portrayed by Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Spider-Man: No Way Home received positive reviews from critics, who praised its action sequences, visual effects, and performances, particularly Tom Holland and the returning characters from previous Spider-Man franchises. The film was a massive commercial success, becoming one of the highest-grossing movies of all time. The future of the Spider-Man character in the MCU is anticipated to be influenced by the events of No Way Home, with potential crossovers and new storylines in upcoming films and projects. 28. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a 2022 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics featuring the character Doctor Strange. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, it is the sequel to Doctor Strange, 2016, and the 28th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. The film was directed by Sam Raimi, written by Michael Waldron, and stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange, alongside Elizabeth Olsen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Wong, Xochitl Gomez, Michael Stuhlbarg, and Rachel McAdams. In the film, Strange protects America Chavez, Gomez, a teenager capable of traveling the multiverse, from Wanda Maximoff, Olsen. 29. Thor: Love and Thunder. The film is produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is a sequel to Thor: Ragnarok, 2017. The film is directed by Taika Waititi, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Jennifer Kayden Robinson, and stars Chris Hemsworth as Thor, alongside Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Christian Bale, Jamie Alexander, Chris Pratt, and others. In Thor: Love and Thunder, the story follows Thor, Chris Hemsworth, and his adventures after the events of Avengers: Endgame, 2019. The film also reintroduces Jane Foster, Natalie Portman, who will become a new version of Thor, as seen in the comics. Additionally, the film features the Guardians of the Galaxy, with Chris Pratt reprising his role as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. Christian Bale will play the villain, Gore the God Butcher. 30. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The film is produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the third film in the Ant-Man series and a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU. The film is directed by Peyton Reed, who also directed the previous two Ant-Man films, and stars Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant-Man, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, Wasp, Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Janet Van Dyne. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania follows the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, and Avengers: Endgame, 2019. Film delves further into the quantum realm and its mysteries. The movie also introduces the character Kang the Conqueror, a time-traveling villain from the comics, played by Jonathan Majors.